Today's guest has an incredible story to share, one of dedication, perseverance. She came from a very, very humble beginning, immigrating to the U.S. with not even speaking the English language, just trying to make it by. And she has evolved into an international star. She is a worldwide educator, artist, an online sensation, over 100,000 followers. Probably seen a lot of her online work as an educator in our industry. She has won the American Influence Award twice. She's been nominated for Educator of the Year at the NAHA. She's the first female to have won 2 Behind the Chair one-shot awards in one night. And she's here with us today to not only talk about her journey of perseverance and what it takes to become an online influencer, an educator, but really talking about best practices when it comes to social media, when it comes to how to position yourself in the online world to be recognized as a potential educator, either online or for in-person events, shows, etc. Stick around. This is an amazing, amazing journey. Can't wait for you to hear all about Leysa Carrillo. And if you want to see her live, she's going to be at the Redken Symposium in Nashville, June 23rd and 24th, 2024. Let's meet Leysa.
Welcome to the Salon Scoop, a podcast by Salon S.O.S. I'm your host, Scott Moon, the founder of Salon S.O.S., and I'm obsessed with helping salon professionals live their best life. In this show, we shop talk all things salon to bring you real-life stories, debates, entertainment, and inspiration to help you find happiness and success in this beautiful industry. If you work in the salon industry in any capacity, this podcast is open to you. So set down your scissors or rinse out that toner and let's get into it. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Salon Scoop podcast. I am super excited to have with us today a true social media guru to share with us her experiences, her learnings, her best practices, how she has grown to become a real icon in the education world in our industry. Leysa Carrillo, if you don't know her already, you're not one of her over 100,000 followers on Instagram, or not following her on TikTok or on YouTube or on her podcast channel, or part of all of her incredible education website and programs that she has. So hopefully you already know her, but we're going to get a little bit in depth about her story, her background, some of the best practices that have brought her to where she is today. So firstly, Leysa, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. I know how busy your schedule is.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to have this time with you to, of course, elevate, share, and help the industry in any way and capacity. That's all what I care and what I breathe is my everyday living.
Well, and that's why we wanted to have you on the show. We like having like-minded people that just really want to help elevate the industry, help support, help give advice. And I've heard so much about you and your genuine nature of, really bringing pure, honest feedback, advice, tips through all of your education. So super excited to have you with here. Before we get into, some of the meat of the episode, Leysa, we always like to start our shows with an S.O.S. signature question. So I'm going to hit it off and ask you, if you could do any celebrity's hair that you have not already done, who might that be and why?
Oh, I love that question. I would say Rihanna. I love
Ooh, nice.
I love her, and I don't know because she's an island girl too. So I don't know. We have things in common. I feel like I don't know. I think
Yeah.
her.
Well, and you're a curly hair specialist, and she has rocked some very, very amazing curly hair over the years. So I could definitely see that. Hopefully, you have the opportunity to work with her someday.
I agree.
So let's talk a little bit about that background quickly. People want to know where you come from, but how you actually got into the industry in the first place. Maybe you can just give us a little bit of a quick background story so that we can understand how you got to to be in the industry in the first place.
I'm originally from Cuba, born and raised. I moved to the United States at the age of 21. My background was I was a ballerina, so I did ballet, contemporary dance, and then I did a lot of shows through my years before I moved to America. My moment that I realized I need a new career, hair wasn't on the top of the list at all. So I always say people, I became a hairdresser because it was cheap, I could afford, and it was something that I had on the tip of my hands. It was accessible, right?
Yeah.
When you don't grow up in a country, you don't go to school here. I didn't go to college or high school, so I didn't have credits or anything to go to college. So when I went to college to see what I can go to school for, I remember that was really expensive. I couldn't afford any career and I didn't have any credits. So I was okay, I'm 20 something, but then I was, I think maybe 26, 27. I was like, this is too late to start building credits. So I always tell everybody, I went to beauty school because it was cheap. That's the easy and honest answer. That was my way to hair because it was cheap. I could afford beauty school and I knew that I could make money. Easier was a career that didn't take too long.
Amazing. Well, we love the honest, authentic answer. It's always so fascinating to hear just sort of, the reasons, what the triggers were to get people into the industry. And so how did you end up starting? Did you just end up, after you finished your schooling, you started as a stylist in a salon somewhere? Have you ever owned your own salon? I'm just kind of curious of your progression.
I love that question because my beginnings were different, right? So back then when I went to beauty school, I didn't speak English that well. I I basically moved to America. I got here with a work visa. Work visa means that I didn't have that much of the struggle of an immigrant, if I could say, because I have a job. And the show business, I used to work for different shows. The last one was Cirque du Soleil. People from everywhere, right? There is Russians, Ukrainians, Latinos. So knowing perfect English wasn't a big deal, right? You basically expressing yourself with your body when you're performing. There is no conversation, there is no customer service. So you are who you are based on what you can translate with your body. So that being said, I didn't have a good English when I went to beauty school. So when I left beauty school, I had two options. I was okay. I remember that I graduated. I used to go home and read the Milady's book 3 times in order to figure out everything that was taught during the day because half I couldn't understand.
Yeah, wow.
I would stay longer after the exam. So the teacher always would leave me extra time. She knew that I had to translate and all of that. So when I finished beauty school, I was okay. I have two options. I can go the easy route and work in an area in town where there's a lot of Latinos and I can be on my comfort zone, or I can just push myself. So I decided to push myself and I started in a really bougie, high class salon. So I did my research and I want to start with the best. But of course, that takes place and time. So I did cleaning. So I used to be the cleaning lady at the salon that I ended up working. So I started there folding towels, cleaning bathrooms, doing coffee, everything the owner we need before I even got to assist somebody.
Wow.
Then I used to work really hard doing that. And at the same time, I used to get dressed really nice. And I used to wear a lot of makeup back then. I was in the show business. I was really good at makeup. By the way, I used to work with MAC. I used to do weddings on the weekends. So makeup was a strength that I have due to so many years performing and doing a makeup on myself every night and all of that. So I did some courses, so I was just calling myself a makeup artist, right? And everybody was like, oh my gosh, oh my God, I love your makeup. My dad always and my mom, they would always say, you can be poor, you can be black, but you have to be clean and you cannot look or act stupid. You have to study, you have to be smart enough to communicate with people, and people shouldn't define for how you look on the outside. So you better always look put together. So I always knew I was okay. I'm the cleaning lady, but this is a beauty salon. I want to be cleaning, but I want to look beautiful for people respect, and they know that I'm still part of the beauty, no matter that I'm in that stage of the beginning, right? But that's how it was. So I didn't own a salon. I start from scratch, from the bottom, because the makeup and the attention that I was bringing to the salon, I was getting makeup on the weekends. Like I would get some appointments on the weekend, and little by little, they would take me to a wedding, and little by little, I became a salon assistant. From there, the salon owner bought a new huge space, and she said, I think you're ready. I think you should go on commission now. This is just like me moving forward and fast on this story, but was of course a couple of years here, a couple of years there.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's it. So that's how I became kind of like somebody behind the chair that was authentically like, a hairdresser, but at the beginning wasn't. I was a helper, I was a cleaning, I was somebody that was like doing makeup here and there, trying to like fit in. And it was really hard. It was really hard. It was a hard pick for me to choose a salon like that. Because you don't recognize, I come from a really poor, humble background. So people sometimes don't realize, so you want things like that, but when you never ever had in your life an experience that is VIP, or have you ever experienced a luxury salon, hotel, or an expensive dinner? So you cannot even relate with those clients, right? So for me, it was really hard. I couldn't relate with them. They were super superficial for me. Of course, I was immature, like I didn't know how to understand the things.
Yeah.
And little by little, I have to like build like a tough skin to be on that environment. I was the only Latina, the only Black in the salon. And I had to put my big girl's pants on and smart. I took a lot of education, a lot, in order to being seen with a little more respect in the salon for sure.
I love it. This is like already just a fantastic story. It sounds of patience, of perseverance, and of hard work, which a lot of young people, I shouldn't say just young people, a lot of people in general don't have that. They don't have the patience. They're not willing to put in the time. They're not willing to put in the hard work and effort to be able to get to the next level and achieve some of their dreams. And I'm sure it's amazing for you to think back at those beginnings and to now see where you are today and how far you've come. And I'm sure that your family is also extremely proud of you.
Yes, they are. I would say some of them, they don't even know how far I had got, like they just don't know.
How hard you really had to work.
For example, my mom doesn't speak English, so she doesn't know. She sees videos and stuff like that, but she doesn't understand what people are saying about me,
Yeah.
She knows a word, she knows that I'm holding it, but I don't think that she really, really understand what have been. And definitely they proud, of course, yeah. But I don't think that they clearly understand how far I got.
Let's fast forward a little bit in the story, and I want to understand what was the trigger for you to decide that you wanted to get into the education world and start educating, and what was that trigger?
That's a good question too, because I'm somebody, even on my group of friends and family, I'm the one that always wondering, but why? But I need to know the why. But if you get, but no, tell me. I'm always like, no. I don't take just answers and just sleeping. I sleep on. I'm literally like to dive in, right? So I knew that I didn't want to be an average every day behind the chair, doing the same thing. I know myself. Like at the age of 17, I traveled maybe on, I don't know, 10 different countries already. And I was 17 years old. So I'm already somebody that have traveled the world, that is always moving and in constant like searching for new things, opportunities. So I kind of knew that, okay, I'm busy. This is beautiful. I already built a clientele, but I was like, what else is there? This is it. And I remember going to Redken Symposium, by the way. I used to be based in Las Vegas. Now I'm in Florida, but I used to be based in Las Vegas. And I don't know if you remember, most of the symposiums back on the day were there. So I
Yeah,
remember,
I went to
right,
many. I went to many myself.
right? So I remember that I went to one of the IBS in Vegas and I went to symposium. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. At that moment, I understood there was something outside the just behind the chair.
Hmm.
But going back to my humble beginnings, because I always was wondering why. Every education that would come to the salon that I would take, when I would try to translate that on curly hair, wasn't working. I remember the era of balayage, 2008. There was just at the very beginning of like people like bringing balayage and understanding and trying. And I was like, it isn't working for curly hair. Like, like I was trying and it didn't work. If that makes sense. So
Yeah.
that was a lot of intrigue that I got on myself. Then I couldn't afford all the education that was coming to the salon. Like I said, this was a really big high-end salon, and a lot of education was coming not only because the salon, but because it was big. It was a salon that I think we have like over 80 stylists. It was big.
Wow.
So a lot of educators and company will host the class there because the space, right?
Of
And
course.
I couldn't afford all of them. So I remember that I became an education manager and helping the owner to facilitate. I used to put the chairs, get the pizza, go to the airport if I need to pick up the educator. Like I would do anything and everything in order to take the education for free. So my head was really full of education constantly, right? And that opened a lot of wonderings, right? Those wonders that always, those questions that I always tell you that I always have back here, they always bother me back of my head. I would go to bed and it's like, no, but why it didn't work? The 6N with them, like all those formulations and things like that. And that's how I start. I start literally, to be honest, my first class was social media. Now that you're talking about, before we start the podcast, we were talking about social media and things like that. Was my first opportunity educating, right? And that's
Interesting.
was. Yeah, it was from that ability to get so much information from so many amazing educators that were coming to the salon. And to see there was another way in beauty, how much you can maximize the beauty license, right? So it was a little bit of everything. That was a little bit of my wondering how things doesn't work on curly hair, a little bit of the exposure that I have with so much education. And that's how I was like, okay, I started like creating my own techniques, and that's how everything started.
Unbelievable. That's fantastic. I love this. What are maybe some tips? Let's talk about people who are in the education world, or they're starting, or they're thinking about wanting to go down the education path. Maybe they're already there, but they want to become bigger, they want to become better. What are some tips that you can give people now, given your whole journey in education, right? Tips that you can give others for them to become better educators themselves. What are some of the keys to being a great educator?
I think the brand is important. Having your brand set in a stone. I think you're always going to have somebody there for you. But if you don't yourself have a clarity on who your brand is, it's confusing for people. I will say, big tip, I'd rather have quality than quantity. I'd rather have 3 students and I can dedicate my full attention than having a class of 80 and just getting all lost, right? So I feel if you're starting, start small because you're going to get a lot of feedback from them. You're going to learn from the mistakes. I have learned so much through my classes, teaching, through the students. So if you get too many, you're going to get caught up in how to facilitate, right? Because at the moment, the facilitation, it takes power. As they see me, is the scream high enough? Oh, there is water. Oh, the food is, oh my God, there's no food because so many people, there are more people than expected. So you focus goes on the big, massive event, kind of like you hosting a concert, instead of the quality that education brings. So I'd rather have a smaller classes, but to be more impactful, everybody's going to leave talking about the class and the value that the class bring to them. And I know that I will be able to achieve and win every single person that is on the room. I have more control. Then, of course, everything can become bigger, but I think the beginning, trying to think small, trying to think quality versus quantity.
Yeah, yeah, totally makes sense. Amazing. Let's start delving into a little bit of your social media. You talked about how the first class you ever taught was about social media, and you obviously have a huge social media following. You know, it's probably one of the keys to your success, because in today's world, if you're not making an impact on social media, then people don't know about you. I mean, the world is on social media. And as we mentioned at the top, you have over 100,000 followers that are following you just on your main account. I know you have other accounts for education as well that you manage. So we want to sort of figure out how you do all this. First and foremost, can you just tell us what your Instagram handle is so that people can follow along as we're talking about it? Maybe they can go and follow you and start, seeing some of the things that we're talking about.
Yes, so I have Leysa hair and makeup, and the reason is makeup is because, right, I used to do makeup a lot for weddings and things like that. And Leysa is spells Leysa.
Yeah, and we'll have that in the show notes for everybody as well, so that you can check that out and follow along for sure.
And then on 2022, I opened Forever Cross Academy. I want to separate the academy and the education a little more from Leysa. I still share a lot of education on Leysa, but I noticed there is a lot of consumers there, clients, influencers, other curly girls, right? They get inspired by other aspect of me that is not just what I can offer as a hairdresser. So on the other page is Forever Cross Academy, and it has like over 20,000. Like it have grown little by little, but I'm 100% sure that those 20,000 are hairdressers, because that's all I post there. There is no inspiration before and after. I don't share things that can be for consumer purpose. Everything is full on education. So I know that everybody that is there for a reason, at least, and I can, narrow my attention between the both. Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. Let's start about how you started your Instagram journey on your main account, let's say. When did you know that this was going to be an actual business tool that you could utilize to help grow your business, either as a stylist behind the chair and or your education, as opposed to just being a fun social media platform?
Yes. So I never, like I say, I never do or plan anything just a coincidence, right? Like everything has a purpose. Like I say, I'm not doing just things just to do it. I plan everything. I plan to be a hairdresser, then I plan to be a really good hairdresser, then I plan what was next, right? So I'm just not in life just walking around. I don't know if that discipline comes from my background. I did ballet since I was 7 years old. I live in a dorm, like I used to live in the school, not going home. So it was a lot of discipline. You don't have your mom waking up in the morning and telling you this is the breakfast. You gotta you gotta wake yourself up. You have to be on time. This is so much discipline at the early age, right? And the same thing with social media. I think it was a whole new social media boom that happened. And I think I kind of got it on the wave. Not on the very beginning, I was kind of on the wave going down, but I've been extremely consistent on building the brand. And I think that has been the key. I'm always myself. If you see me now, if you see me on social media, if you meet me at a class, everybody agree on the same. I always gonna be the same. I always gonna give you my 200%. And that's what I did on social media. I plan it. I understand my audience, what they like. I schedule everything that goes there. I schedule the day that I'm looking for content and music and what is viral, what is trending. I'm booking the day that I'm going to be filming, editing, and I book all like it is a job the way I have it. So that's why I think I have been consistent in a growth and of course working for me in so many amazing ways.
Yeah. When would you say that that started, that discipline of, planning out your days for, content, planning out the days and the times for actually shooting and, and then the scheduling. When did you really get into that level of discipline around your content creation? How long ago?
Like I say, since the very beginning, maybe it wasn't as a structure, but it was in the very beginning. Like I knew
Wow.
to post, I knew what I need to do. I think it was more when I start getting different contracts and different job opportunity, when my schedule and my life got really hectic and busy. So I decided I need to schedule that second job. That seems to be, oh, it's nothing. No, it's another job. So I realized, okay, more things I have on my plate, I have to have more structure and I have to have better organization in order to meet all my goals and be everywhere and be still a human that breathes and is healthy. Like I just came from the doctor and he's like, oh, good, good, good. I was like, oh my God, thanks God. I've been getting so many headaches lately and I think it's a little bit of stress, but I thought something was wrong with me. And he's like, oh no, cholesterol, everything was fine. I was like, click, click, click. He was checking. I was like, okay, good. And I guess it's just, that's what I want. I want to have the time where I go to the gym. I want to have the time where I'm doing things with my family. Like I have to schedule my life because I have so much in my plate. And, but I think that was what you asked, right? Like how.
Yeah, and we're going to go a little bit deeper because I think this is one of the things that many people struggle with. I mean, you talk to people, everybody says they want more time. They want the time to have with their family. They want the time to be able to, maybe go to the gym or do some of the things that just make them feel happy outside. But many people struggle. They feel that they can't find the time. And for social media, it seems like this whole other, like you said, it's a whole other job. And a lot of people can't get their heads around it. And they get caught up thinking, oh, like, what am I going to post today? I should do something. And it just becomes tiring and exhausting. And it ends up slowing people down and maybe not doing it. And I agree with you. Planning is so critical. You spend 1 hour of planning can actually help you save 4 hours of execution. It's just that people can't even see themselves taking 1 hour to do the planning. You just have to get into the habit of doing it, and it can really, really help set you up for success. So I'd love for you to share with us a little bit more detail about the whole process for you and how you set aside time and how much time you set aside, how you go about, coming up with the ideas, and then the second phase is doing the actual, shoots or videos or production work, and then scheduling. Give us as much kind of detail as you can around that process that might help some people get a little bit better organized in their own lives.
Yeah. And this is something that a friend of mine says, that they have 24 hours for all of us, just for me or for you, right? We all have 24 hours. It's just how you manage your 24 hours. And I have to definitely give some credit to Olivia Smalley. She is a social media educator and content creation. She gave me a lot of different tips, not to mention she comes to the academy. I have a whole academy where I bring along different amazing educators to teach things that I don't feel that I'm an expert, right? So she's one of them. And I learned from her a lot of the time management. So, and one of the biggest tip is, guys, I make a list how much money I'm getting every month from what avenue, right? The salon, the social media, the house that you rent on the beach. I don't know. Family has so many different, right? Source of like, your husband left, I don't know. Whatever it is, put all those source of income. And you have to prioritize. Whoever is giving you the most amount of money, you have to prioritize that. That could be one thing that you can like help. If you know the salon is extremely important and it's your main income and you're a salon owner and you know that you leave and your kids eat and go to bed because you have the salon, you have to make sure that everybody at the salon is busy. So you have to make sure, what can I do to bring more business to my salon? So that means your salon becomes your priority. And then what I did also is putting aside the things that I love to do and the ones that I hate to do, right? The things that I'm really good at and the things that I'm not that good at. If not, you get overwhelmed and you get exhausted and you give up. Because if you're spending too many times a day doing the things that you hate, that is draining. So what I did, I have a virtual assistant. She helped me a lot with my flyers for both accounts, the cover of the videos, things that I know that is so detailing that you have to be in front of the computer with the mouse, making the letter bigger, smaller. I hate that. So it was something that I took out of my plate because I know that I'm not that good at that. I can do it, but I take longer because I'm not that good at that. So you can look for help. You know, if there are things that you hate to do, I hate cleaning, I hate cooking. I have a clean lady that can, for example. That makes sense. So in your life, if you can afford having more time for yourself and your happiness, everything is going to flow better. So if I know that I don't have things that I have to do every day that I hate, I'm going to be a better person for everybody, for my audience on social media, for my students, for my clients, because I'm not caught up on that negativity of I wake up, I have to clean, da, 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 da. For example, I'm just putting an example, right?
Yeah.
So I think everything starts there. Then you build your schedule based on that. What are the most important things? What are the revenue that is that important thing is for you? And I schedule my life around that, basically.
Love that. And specific to your social media, sort of content, how much time are you dedicating, on a weekly basis, and how do you break that down, planning out the ideas for your content and then actually shooting the content?
I have content days booked on my month, maybe 2 times or 3 times. On each day, I get minimum 8 videos, pictures, how many I can think of. You have to book it. At this level that I work social media, I have to book it. And the level that I am with traveling, like doing other things, I need to book that time to create quality content. At this point, social media, you have to relate with people. Posting a beautiful photo of hair is not, anymore. Like it's just not there anymore, right?
Yeah.
So you either have to spend some time editing a video. I already did those before and after picture. I already did all of that for so many years. One, I don't want to be bored. Two, I want to have a more wide clientele when it comes who's consuming my content. So for example, now on the Forever Cross Academy page that is based for education only, I schedule over there when I'm going to talk about the academy, when I'm going to have education videos, when I'm going to speak in Spanish versus in English, because now my plan is to grow my Spanish community. So now I have a goal from last year to this year. So that means I have to create videos that speak to those people, and it's different, right? So I know when I'm going to do an inspiration video versus when I'm going to share somebody from my team, that I'm also growing a team that goes to educate with me. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is on a schedule. And that's exactly how I make the content. So I look for ideas. I can open my phone. I can share exactly the app that I use. There is this app that I love. And in that app, I put ideas, I put the music. There's a check mark that says you complete that video, you complete that post. And this app is called Trello. I don't know if you heard about it. It would be
Hello.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, right here you can see, but I have Trello and I have all my pages. Then when I click on it, there is all the ideas, all the music. I also look for inspiration on the day that I'm looking for inspiration. I add it here and that's it. That's the way I work. I schedule and I work check mark.
Helps, I mean, it helps keep things organized, right? If you have a list of things, I mean, my brain is constantly going in a million different directions. So if I don't write something down, put it on my to-do list, put it in my calendar, it's just not going to happen. So I absolutely have to schedule myself, even if it's, for completely different things that we all have to do. And I plan all personal things as well. I think you have to put your priorities, you have to prioritize your priorities. So spending time with your kids is important. You're finding that you don't have time, you can't ever get around, put it in your calendar, block that time in your calendar and say, you know what, every day from 5 to 7 or whatever time it is that you want it to be, you plug that in as your first thing, and now nothing else can take that time slot, and that time is dedicated and there. If it's a priority for you, then make it so in your calendar and schedule it. If going to the gym, you have trouble finding time to go, but you know it's something that you really want to do, you have to put it in the calendar and say, you know what, this comes first. Right?
Agree.
And I'm gonna make that happen.
Agree.
Right.
I do it as well. Because I forget. So I literally I even have my alarm when I should go to sleep. Maybe I won't because I have still stuff to do, but I try to be away from my phone a little bit if I can.
Yeah. Schedule, I mean, the number of stylists or estheticians, salon professionals that struggle to eat during the day because they just never have time, you have to block some time. And I know people say, well, I run late, on certain things, and therefore you end up like cutting into your, time to eat. But nourishing your body actually fuels you with energy to be able to give you the best of yourself, right, to your clients, to be able to do your craft at the best level. So if you're not taking the time to fuel and energize your body, you're not going to be able to deliver results. So again, scheduling time to eat. It sounds silly, but it's actually very, very important and critical to do. All right, let's delve back into some of your social media strategies. You talked about the planning, the content, the production, the ideas, the app that you use for that. What's your strategy when it comes to reels? We're just staying on Instagram for now, but on reels versus posts, regular posts versus carousels. Any tips that you have in terms of what tends to be working really well for you these days and that you spend the most time on?
I will say reels. Reels are the number one right now.
Yeah.
And because I'm growing also my TikTok, I love because I can, bring one content from one place to another one and kind of utilizing the same content for both platform. I would say after that, carousel can be what you follow next. Post are kind of my least favorite. Sometimes I do it more for aesthetic, that the way the page I wanted to look and I put a post, but I'm not hoping that post get any attention. It's just for aesthetic to bring a little more space on the page, especially because the work that I do has so much texture and volume, sometimes occupy and takes the whole square. So I want to have some space. Sometimes on my page, I think it looks sometimes too clouded. And it's not that it's clouded, it's just a lot of hair in the picture, right? A lot of volume. But other than that, I would say yes, in that order. Carousel would be the second favorite, but definitely yes.
And how often do you post normally?
Every
Whether
day.
it's a reel or a carousel or a post, like you post something every day?
Pretty much every day. Sometimes twice a day, especially on the education page.
Yeah, because you're managing two different accounts. So do you ever have same content that you put on both accounts, or is it two different contents? And how are you, well, let's answer that first. Do you have different content for each account?
Yes, but sometimes I basically share the same. I I try to sometimes do that because I feel they feed on both places, and I still share some. I want to show up as an educator too on Leysa Hair and Makeup, but I don't want to educate too much there, if that makes sense. So Leysa Hair and Makeup is my brand, is myself. And that's part of who I am. I educate, I inspire, I'm behind the chair, I do hair, right? So I want to make sure that that page describe that. When you look and you scroll, that page has to describe who you are. Now, the other one is a completely education platform. You will never see me sitting on the beach there. You will never see Leysa. No, it basically is strict to educate and share what I'm doing on education, what I'm going, what I'm going to be, what they can, learn, what they're missing. Is all strategies, getting problem with solution constantly there. Over there is a lot of like creativity when it comes with bringing solutions. Like today I did a post where I can bring solutions and make them think. Like, hey, I'm trying to build this free class. Like every quarter of the year, I kind of do like an online free class just to like have new subscribers, new people, everything free, everything always is likable, right?
Yeah.
So I was just taking from them some questions. I was like, please participate because I know a lot of us burn out at the salon, and I want to talk about that. Yeah, already got engagement there. I already have people like saying, oh, I think this. What am I missing? I always make sure that they are talking to me back.
Love that. Yeah, you have to be stimulating engagement for sure. On your personal branding page, have you ever struggled, or what's your strategy for targeting consumers? Because you still work behind the chair, so you want to be exposing yourself to potential consumers who want to come get their hair done with you. But like you said, you also have lots of industry, stylists, influencers that are following that account also. So how do you strategize the content to make sure that you are actually speaking to the relevant people, since it's very different audiences?
Yes, I feel like consumers love tips, products, how to use, and they also love to see transformations. So before and afters, a video where I transform somebody from A to B. But that also, the transformation from A to B, when I add the formulations, is really good appearing for hairdressers. So I kind of like mix and match. But I notice what they like the most is personal. So for example, I shared a video about this product. If I'm not using it on myself, it won't grab as much attention that if I'm using it on myself versus somebody else. Like I know if I have to talk about a product that I like and I want them to get it, I have to either use it on myself or speak to the video with my voice. Like you have to learn your audience, and it changes all the time. Social media is not in one place, fits all, and it's not going to stay in one place. It literally goes up and down, changes a lot. So I try to go with the flow, be positive about it instead of being negative. Like, oh, how it's changing. Now it's real. Blah, blah, blah. Now I have to be funny. I have never been funny. I'm not funny, but I found my way into my funny side at beginning, and I did a couple of things. I don't know, until I realized, okay, I can go left instead of following right where everybody's being funny. That makes sense. So
yeah.
But if you don't do what you're sitting on your house and you never posting, you will not get this information. You have to post every day so you can get this information from your audience. They're the ones that are looking at your content. That's why the consistency is so important, because you learn from it. I always say, like anything in life, I say this on my classes all the time. If you look at football, right? I always say, okay, if you guys watch football, everybody, yes, okay. So what do you think the quarterback is not the kicker, and the kicker doesn't do the liner backers or whatever, right? The kicker is trained just to kick the ball and trains and trains and trains, and you will never see him in another position. It's because that is important to master something. And when you master something, it's only going to happen with repetition. And I think I got that in my head from ballet. what I say, the discipline that I have when I used to be a performer. Only repeating the same spin, I got it right. So I know that repetition is going to get me the key to get better at anything that I want to be.
Love that. What would you say are some of the keys today? Because you started your education Instagram page not too long ago. You mentioned that you're on TikTok now, and so that's probably more of a recent thing, and you're sort of building the audience. So what's some of your advice or tips for things that people can be doing to try to grow their audience on social media these days?
I think find something unique that you enjoy and you become the best at it and can bring value. People needs to see the value. People needs to get entertained and people need to be educated whatever you're doing. If no, they're not watching. Remember, that's social media became the new TV. That's what I tell people. People spend a lot of time watching us on social media. So you have to entertain. You have to bring some value somehow. I don't know if you're cooking, if you are a personal trainer, there has to be a value. Look at the big pages. There is a value there, right? And also you have to bring something to the table that is unique. I think being exclusive, unique, creative is important. Is super important. I think that was one of my biggest key of success at beginning of social media. I was basically one of the first one going really crazy with blonding curly hair to the fullest, to the lightest, putting the crazy color. So there is a lot of videos that are viral today's days that I got featured, I don't know, 5 years ago from Inside of Beauty, those companies that social media platform, they were really big on Facebook before even TikTok was big. So if you have something unique, people are going to find you and they're going to talk about it and they're going to share and they're going to, it's just going to be like like an effect, domino effect. It's going to literally like bring so much to your business, but you have to find that uniqueness. You have to know that you have to go on the same, road, but you can have your own speed, right? Everybody have a different speed. You cannot trying to be anybody else. Take your time, understanding what is your brand, step by step, build that brand, create that signature thing that only you do, that you're really good. Become that kicker in football. Okay, and repeating. I know they can talk about this and this is gonna blow my page.
Love that.
I see it all the time. I'm pretty much, I know you see it too. There is so many amazing educators. There is this lady, is beautiful. She does beautiful updos. And I think the most viral videos lately that she has on her page is talking about her depression, how she thought that she was really good, but she wasn't. That authenticity people can relate at the end of the day is important.
Love it. Let's talk quickly about some of the other digital footprints that you have. We've spent a lot of time on Instagram, but I know that we talked, you have a TikTok account, you have a YouTube channel, you have a podcast channel, you may or may not have like an email subscriber list. So you've kind of put yourself on many different channels. What would you say is the ones that bring the most to you in terms of building your brand, building your education business that you're building, and why did you sort of spread yourself out a little bit, and what seems to be working the best?
I feel definitely Instagram, but it's because this is my priority and I put a lot of time there. I feel if I put the same amount of time in another pages, it would grow the same. It's just I did my numbers and Instagram is bringing the biggest income every month for me. So I decide to get really good and really strategize everything. I don't know how to explain it, but I focus on that one, but I don't think one platform is better than other one Because there is people making millions on YouTube. There is people making so much money in TikTok. It's just, like I say, what you pick to be your top priority, and you're going to be really good at it. Instagram to me seems really, really good. And I don't consider myself that I have that many followers, but I really get a lot of engagement. They are true to every single post that I create. I can see the connection with my followers. Like I say, I'm not focused now on growing the number of followers or anything like that. I'm focused on connecting, building, creating memories for people that they remember. And the reason also I have so many things, because I want to show up as much as I can for them. Showing up, being on people's faces means repetition. And everything is the same thing that I'm saying. Repetition means you're going to get better. You're going to be seen more. And that's all I do. I try to repeat myself as much as I can. I'm here, I'm loud, I'm present, and I'm going to do my best to connect with you. That's all I want, making sure that I'm loud. When I say I'm loud, I mean, it's like I'm going to show up. I'm not going to hold myself back in classes, in events, in social. I was talking to a lady the other day. She said, you should have a book. I was like, you're right. I should have a book. Like anything that people can find me, I'm going to have.
Yeah, well, and at the end of the day, today, the online world is about capturing attention. And the attention, first of all, the attention span of people is very, very small. But it's also spread across all of these platforms. So if you can get yourself present, we encourage salon professionals, salons all the time. You're making a lot of videos as it is. Why not have a YouTube channel and put them onto YouTube also? Right? And maybe from time to time create some special videos just for YouTube. But a lot of people are searching for beauty on YouTube. So if you're not there at all, you have zero chance of being found. If you are there, you know what? You're increasing your likelihood of being found and getting some eyeballs, right? Some impressions from people on that channel. Same thing for TikTok. A lot of people still haven't gotten onto the TikTok, bandwagon yet, thinking, oh, you know what? It's just like crazy teenagers, kids doing dancing and whatnot. It's not like that anymore. And there's millions and millions and millions of people on this platform. And if you're not there, again, you have 0% chance of being seen by anyone there. So if you can get yourself on to multiple platforms, it's just giving you more opportunities to reach out and connect with people. Leysa, I want to acknowledge you for the incredible journey that you've had. I think it's very inspirational. If people really listen to, the early stages of sort of where you came from, your background, the struggles that you went through to kind of make it, the time, the perseverance, the hard work, the energy, the patience that you had to give for really every step of your building your career to get to sort of where you are today. And obviously you're still, you're still growing, you're still building, you still have aspirations, you're still extremely young. That's, I think, an amazing inspiration for people. I want to acknowledge you for that success that you've had. And maybe you can highlight for people, if they want to connect with you a little bit more deeply, what are some of the signature programs that they can, get into if they want to experience some of your education, or if they just want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Thank you so much for acknowledging that. It means a lot, like I always say, I'm not here hoping or looking for recognition or anything like that, like ever on anything that I do. But I really want to live every single day with a purpose, right? So, and I feel like my purpose, it can show to others and people can feel it and sense it, I'm happy, right? So thank you for that. And if anybody is open to learn more about inclusivity, simplifying your day behind the chair, because it's a whole system. My education is a whole system in place that it matches the life that I believe, right? Exactly what I was saying is about timing, to do the things that you want to do, to be able to be at home at 5 p.m. with your kids instead of being at the salon till 10 p.m., right? So it's all about simplifying living the best life through amazing techniques. I teach a specialty that is curly hair. I create a whole system to cut, color, and style. And you can find me on my website. You can have access to everything. It will be Forever Curls by Leysa. And I have a online subscription platform that people can subscribe there for education, inspiration. Even I share my favorite music and playlist. Like it's amazing. It's a beautiful community. I also go on tour, national. I'm doing an international tour. I work with Redken as a, educator too. So you will see me on a lot of the shows. And I have the academy that is like an in-person, more in-depth training, but everything is in there. How to contact, how to have a space to sit down with me for either coaching on anything that you feel like you can connect and grow and get better, and I can help you. I'm here for you. But I'm on the platform or on my socials, yeah.
Amazing. And we'll make sure to list all those in the show notes so that you kind of connect. Leysa, it's very obvious that you are true to yourself. You're very authentic the way you come across. And I think that people listening will really sense and feel that and know that you're genuine in your desire to really help transmit a message that's going to allow people to become, a better version of themselves, both personally and professionally is the sense that I'm getting. It's not just the focus on the techniques and learn the techniques. It's a more holistic approach. And I think that's really fantastic that so many people in our industry can really benefit from. So again, I applaud you for what you're doing. Before we let you go, we have one last question that we like to ask all of our guests here on the Salon Scoop podcast is, if you were starting your career all over again, if you go back to that early stage of your hair career, or if you think of people that are, starting off their career today, what's one piece of advice that you would give to that individual to help kickstart them on their journey to have the most success possible in this beautiful industry?
I know it sounds basic, but education. And when I'm talking about education, I'm not only mean the education that you get to better your skill set. I'm talking about financial. I'm talking about personal growth, time management. All of the things can support your business so well. But when I say education, is to be also open to receive from those that have been on the industry longer than you. You can learn from anybody. I learn from the coffee that I serve. I learn from the bathroom that I clean. I learn customer service. I learn excellence. I learn how to make this table really clean. So when somebody show up, that table looks impeccable. Simple things can lead you to big things. Also, always think on high-end services. Always think that if you're new to the industry, you should provide high-end services. And if you are not good in here, like inside, you cannot be good for your clients. You with them 3-4 hours. So that's why it's a whole circle. You have to get emotion intelligent. You have to know your numbers. You have to know your financials. You have to go to find for that education as much as you find the skill set, because that education is important. And we don't learn it in beauty school, unfortunately. Yeah.
And often we don't learn it anywhere. I find, the regular education system in schools lacks, especially on the financial side. I think that's such an amazing piece of advice. Wow, this has been such an enriching. The time really flew by here. I've been sort of keeping an eye on on the clock, but amazing story, amazing advice, amazing wisdom. I am sure that so many people are going to be able to take away so much from this episode. And Leysa, I want to thank you again for joining us and just being yourself and sharing all this amazing tips, strategies, advice. Just yourself, your story is inspirational, and we hope that it can lead to inspire many others to have beautiful success and careers in our industry. And again, everyone out there, take the opportunity to follow Leysa on socials. You have a lot that we can all learn. I think that we should do another episode sometime, Leysa, where we talk more about the whole personal mindset and personal development and leadership, because that's an area that I feel we really need to stress a lot in our industry as well. And it sounds like you're very, very much aligned with that as well. So applaud you. Thanks again for your time today, everyone. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being part of the Salon Scoop podcast community. We look forward to having you share this episode with others that can benefit, and we look forward to hearing from you and having you join us on our next episode. Take care, everyone, and stay stylish.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Salon Scoop podcast. This show is produced by Salon S.O.S, a digital marketing agency by industry professionals for industry professionals. If you want simple and affordable solutions for any of your salon marketing needs, such as websites, client loyalty, Google search rankings, social media, or more, come visit us at salonsos.ca or on Instagram at salon.s.o.s. If you want to hear more episodes like this and help us continue to bring the industry great content, it would mean so much to us if you would support us in one of the following ways. Either share this episode with one other industry professional, and rate the show on Spotify or write us a quick review on Apple Music. We want to hear your feedback. If you have follow-up questions or ideas for future episodes, please reach out. DM us on Instagram at salonis.s.o.s or hit us up on our website again at salonsos.ca. Again, thanks so much for listening. Now go get your hustle on, keep smiling, and we'll catch you on our next episode.